The idiots have been in charge way too long. And that's why you're here. For the podcast you need. All for liberty all the time. Welcome to Liberty Bites Back. With your host, Brandon Emil.
The far left, the leftists, and the Democrats always argue that people argue in the way of whataboutism, also called whataboutery. The definition of whataboutism or whataboutery is a logical fallacy that attempts to discredit an opponent's position by charging them with hypocrisy without directly refuting or disproving their argument. Now, this fallacy usually is tied to the Soviet Union's arguments to the United States during the Cold War when they had bring up the past of the United States. The same exact arguments that the left in America focus on: American slavery, racism, lynching, and the native genocide. All of those statements, when made by the Soviet Union, were to defend their own atrocities. They made books, they've created literature and history books even as well, going over all of the issues of the United States, but for an argument to allow their own atrocities in their own nation. Now, these days, I do find it very interesting that the Soviet arguments are now the arguments of our modern American Democrats. They all focus on these topics. And also they read and distribute the Soviet and similar communist literature of those days to defend their ideology right now. Now, back to the main topic. Many left-leaning people dismiss all arguments from any other ideas by saying people are stuck on whataboutism or whataboutery. The claim of whataboutism is now a way to not explain fallacies, but is used by the Democrats to dismiss debate. When they disagree with someone and their ideas of their own politicians doing the same as what they are complaining about, this is not whataboutism, but is truly just them misunderstanding that fallacy, and debates on ideas are way different. Showing hypocrisy is now always dismissed by the left as being whataboutism. It's a gaslighting tactic, and it's clear that they somewhat know what they are doing as they ignore the real refuting of the problems and the disproving of their ideas. They have learned that if they bring it up in their debate, they can use the argument of this fallacy to ignore the issues and also ignore that the issues are not just on one side. While if nobody shows a refute or argument or a disproving of the ideas and just shines the issues on the hypocrisy, it is very similar to whataboutism, and they would have a point. But the biggest way of division is showing a refute or a disproving, or at least an argument against it, without focusing on the hypocrisy alone. But they always dismiss debate once hypocrisy is explained by saying that their argument is whataboutism, so they can try to show that they won by not refuting nor disproving anything themselves, but by just saying, you're doing whataboutism.